Hi everyone, it's A-Dogs, and thank you all for coming to my channel. So today we'll be going over the third chapter of the Cray epic series, episode 3 being Stoichea after 3,000 years. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the story. Probably to protect the sacred area, the stone gates were tightly closed, but as soon as Chaos signalled with his hand, they opened. Rorowa could not help but gasp at the sight that spread out before him, a huge town with canals running in all directions. In the glistening waterways, gondolas rowed by boatmen come and go. Brick houses line the canals, vividly coloured geraniums rustling by the windows. Overwhelmed, Rorowa stopped on the bridge leading from the sacred area to the city, and Chaos looked back at him. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Thuri is the next largest city in Stoichea, after the capital. The world tree, which took root here 3,000 years ago, has showered many blessings on the land. The Yggdrasil, which took root here 3,000 years ago, provided the land with many blessings. People gathered here and eventually it became a huge city. The Thuri I knew was some rural district. It's changed so much. It has without a doubt been 3,000 years. The streets were crowded with a multitude of people coming and going. What caught Rorowa's eye was the diversity of the races. 3,000 years ago in Zoo, Boyroids and Dryads were hard at work producing crops in the farmlands. At the center of the Stoichea continent was the Great Nature University, where the highly intelligent high beast gathered the best of their knowledge. Even within nations, it was a common tendency for only certain races to gather in each region. However, going right past them was a female elven knight wearing white armor and carrying a huge sword. Beyond her was a vampire dressed like a pirate walking by leisurely. It was hard to believe that this was the pastoral Thuri district of the past. There seemed to be so many different kinds of people here. Ah, that's because of their fire regalis. The one who stole Chaos' words and said them herself was Radilina, who was walking half a step behind them. Everyone is here in search of the fire regalis. No one knows what it is, or where it is, but it must surely be near the Yggdrasil. It's quite hard to get into the sacred area, but everyone is here to gather information and keep an eye out for it. Looks to be that way. That's why there are so many kids like young Rady going about. Chaos shrugged his shoulders and pouted like a child. This is why there is no end to the number of suspicious individuals trying to infiltrate my temple. As a result, Ligeta, the leader of the guards, has been running around frantically every day. I can't tell you how many times she said, "Stop pointlessly wandering around," and gotten angry at me. You've been wandering around? Well, it's in my nature to want to record everything I can. It's fine if you want to call me the know-it-all guy. I'll answer anything you ask other than my 3 sizes. By the way, Lietas are from the top, 90, 58 and 84. Chaos spun his pen around and only thing Rorowa could say in return was, "Ha ha!" So I know a bit of history. That's right. Let's talk about what happened to this world after you fell asleep. That sounds good. Let's do that. The book in Chaos' hand glowed, forming an image in the air. After you fell asleep, Geese was destroyed. Thanks to the power of the 3 heroes, Chronojet, Oatmile, and Asha. That Geese? Rorowa's mouth dropped suddenly. The dragon deity of destruction, Geese. For those of the general public like Rorowa, its presence and influence was too great. Although we would hear rumours that the battle against Geese was continuing in distant lands, as simple people we were too busy trying to keep the fire from falling on them. Yeah, and at the same time the Messiah disappeared. The Messiah? He was rendered speechless by the reality that was conveyed to him in such a convincing manner. It was as if the bottom of the earth had fallen out, as if the 2 moons had disappeared, as if something that had been taken for granted had suddenly disappeared. He could not even hope to imagine the consequences thereafter. Seeing this surprise, Chaos nodded. The Messiah was like the sun. It was so obvious that its blessing poured over planet Cray, and the people lived by its power without anyone noticing. And the bad just kept on piling up. The presence of Cray's idea, the source of all divinities, could no longer be sensed. The reason being beyond the understanding of us, commoners, but now this was quite a problem. Do you know what would happen? No? All the blessings had been lost. Of course, magic could not be used. There were more natural disasters and more monsters, and because of the poor harvest, Neonax's food supply could not keep up, and Cray suffered from starvation. This difficult situation signifying the beginning of the godless era. Chaos history will display the suffering people. Even so, the people continued to live, strong and stubborn for the past 3,000 years. The world split into smaller nations, merged, and after much hardship and chaos, the 6 nations were born. The image shifted to show what looked like a world map. However, it was very different from the one Aurora knew. The nation borders are different, and what most struck him was that the peninsula to the south of the Dragon Empire had been gouged out into a circular shape. This place is... That's where Gibbs met his end. Now, as the name implies, it's called Geese End Bay. You can see how grand an end it was since it even changed the terrain. Is there anything else you'd like to know? Megalanica and Zoo are as one? As expected of young Roma. That's a green point you brought up. Yes, that's where the Stoichea is. It is a country founded by the sage, Master Stoichea, who pursued the truth at the shrunken Great Nature University. He said, "Do not despair, but be grateful, for the divine blessings are spreading throughout Cray and accumulating power where they support us." There Zoo and Megalanica came into an agreement and became one big nation. Ah, I see! There was so much information that he could only react in that way. Of course, Chaos did not realize this and kept up his pursuit. There was another group of people who agreed with Master Stoichea. Bermuda Triangle. You know those legendary divas, don't you? That's right. Those beautiful mermaid divas, who were said to make the sound of gunfire disappear on the day of their live performances. The girls later left Stoichea and began to travel the world, accepting all kinds of individuals who wanted to become idols, while appealing for peace on the mobile school city, Lyrical Monasterio. This school is a giant white whale that moves through the skies instead of under the seas. Now, with magic being unable to be used, do you know where this change had the greatest consequences? It's a simple quiz. Where was magic particularly well developed? Rolla thought for a moment and then quickly came with the answer. Was it Darkstone? Correct. My homeland was a country by demon kin. The demon lords who ruled it were chaotic and belligerent, and together with the disappearance of the divine blessings, the small nations reverted back into the warring states period. Eventually, a single hero appeared and managed to bring the demon lords together, and Gear Chronicle gathered here, known as Dark States. It is thriving, a happy ending. Chaos turned the pen nib that had been pointed at the Dark States to the northwest. There was a country that was somewhat smaller than more remembered. Next is a country once known as United Sanctuary. This place has hit quite badly because it had always been a country with a lot of civil strife. The loss of divine blessings caused a lot of dissatisfaction and the decline of the Burton royal family. Furthermore, after consecutive civil wars and monster infestations, the land at its very limits were desolate. Eventually, 6 heroes from 6 different clans of the country came together to create Kita Sanctuary, the heavenly floating island, but where there is the heavens, there is the ground. What was born was a system where there were those who rule and those who were ruled. The new nation of Kita Sanctuary continues to this day, despite its distortions. The United Sanctuary that Rollo knew of was a country that valued justice and order, with knights who had high aspirations and huge corporations that made use of divination. It was difficult to imagine how it could have become so distorted. On the other hand, there is a country that has not changed, Dragon Empire. The 5 old dragons were able to remain active even without the divine blessings, and led their clans that continued to safeguard the continent. Even when the world was facing despair, why were they able to maintain such high aspirations? It was because of the temple called the Red Dawn Manor, which guarded the egg of the current divinity Nirvana. The egg hatched and the Red Dawn Manor fulfilled the mission, and it had been given since ancient times. As a result, the climate and harvest on Cray stabilized, and the 3,000-year-long era of darkness came to an end. And as you can see, we are now in the midst of reconstruction. Take a look. With that said, Kios spread out his arms and pointed to the city. They were wagons loaded with livestock, vegetable store owners shouting for people to come in, and boatmen rowing gondolas while humming songs. Not even a trace of anxiety was on their faces. They were just desperately trying to make the most of today, so full of life. No matter what kind of world we live in, the people are strong and resilient. I think that it was the same 3,000 years ago as it is today. With that, this old tale is over. From here on, you will live your own story. Yes! Roa nodded firmly at Chaos's words. Rady was looking for split ends in Momoki's fur. Kios slammed his book shut. What do you plan to do now, young Roa? I'm going to look for the one who raised me, Olivia. Even if he is no longer in this world, I just want to know how he came to his end. His end? Just saying those words made him feel like the era around his chest was being squeezed tightly. In Roa's mind, Olivia was his partner, who had been alive only yesterday. He could not even fully understand that 3,000 years had passed, nevertheless accepting that Olivia was dead. Even if there was just a sliver of hope, he wanted to cling to it. Just as he had made up his mind, a loud rumbling came from Roa's stomach. He quickly covered his stomach with what remained of his left arm, but it was to no avail. By the way, how much do you have on you, Roa? About 2 silver coins, I think. Roa was prone to muggings, so Olivia was in charge of their wallet. Did he even have 2 silver coins on him? Chaos nodded. I see, he said, loudly, powerful, dependably. You can count on me to help the young age here. Immediately after turning over the inner pockets of his robe, Chaos gave an "Oh no" look. Since I tend to splurge on things quickly, Mikani confiscated it all. The sad-looking Chaos was met with an equally sad-looking Roa. For the time being, I guess I'll look for a place to work. That's good. I'd love to take care of you, but it's hard for me to be free due to my status as a free labor in the temple. Just then, a voice echoed straight down the street. Master Chaos, where are you? Looking back at the bridge that spanned the street from the temple, they could see a pea-sized figure of a guard calling out Chaos' name. Yeah? Letting out a voice like that of a frog being crushed, Chaos ducked into the shadow of a fruit stand that was stacked with lemons. Hiding his voice as if he was frightened, he called at Roa and Reddy. I've got to go back soon, okay, young Reddy? I've got an idea. You're going to stay in town for a while, aren't you? After all, you haven't gotten what you came for. No thanks. I've got a better idea. No. Guards! Here is a scoundrel one who infiltrated the sacred area and escaped. While Reddy gritted her teeth, Roa could only stand there with a wry smile, with nowhere to go. In other words, that's what happened. So that is the next chapter of the Cray Cross Epic series. If you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like, and while you're down there, why not subscribe and hit that notification bell so that when I upload another video, you will be notified. Hair Dogs out. See ya!